Just tell me. Okay. All right. Happy Monday, you guys. I'm like really starting to like Mondays. I don't know why, but I did not used to like them. I'm really starting to like them. I just feel so energized and like fresh on Mondays. Okay. So some of you, I'm going to dive right in, like I said, because I do have a lot of things I want to share. And sometimes I don't like doing these kind of Zooms where I feel like I just talk all the time and we don't bounce around. But I need a show of hands. Who has read the book Atomic Habits? Show of hands, drop a 1, whatever you want to do in the comments. Because maybe a 1 would be better because I can't see everybody. If you have read Atomic Habits, I want to know. All right. So I really slacked on my self-development. And so I had a couple books sitting on my nightstand. I still have a couple books. And Alyssa actually gave me this book for my birthday. So I was like, all right, it's time to get back to reading. Podcasts just are not doing it for you. They're doing it, but it's not enough. You need to get back to reading. So I dove into Atomic Habits and we started a little book club, and I have Monique and Madison, and they help keep me on track with that. So we've been doing that. I have no idea how to read a book or lead a book club, but we're doing it, right? So PSA, I am not covering everything in this book. I'm still reading. There's a whole lot, and this is just a start. But the reason I chose Atomic Habits was because going into 2021, I realized that maybe my habits had slipped, or like they weren't that great, and there was things that I needed to change. And based on the title, again, I knew nothing about the book other than based on the title, it sounded like something I needed to read, and I needed to pick something up. So what I'm going to do is go over some of the exercises. Gina, listen to it. Yeah, there we go. That works too. I want to go over some of the things thus far, like halfway through the book, that I have really, y'all, this book is like, there's no way I could pass it on to anybody because I have highlighted and wrote all over this thing. But the number one reason when I started reading this is, like I said, I realized my habits had kind of gotten into they stunk. They kind of just stunk. To be very, very honest with you, they were not good. So I wanted to, and I have a lot of notes. So if I keep looking over here, it's because I was trying to condense what I wanted to share with y'all. So I wrote these notes twice today to try and condense them. So if you were with us in April, May, April, March, all those things, raise your hand. Okay. We made a huge flipping push. All right. Which we had to do. We had to do that to hit the goals we wanted to hit. Like, we had so many freaking promotions. I was looking through my overboard the other day. I was like, oh my God, like so many promotions. But prior to that, I hadn't developed the consistent habits that I needed to, like prior to April, May. April, May. And so what happened was they weren't consistent. So when we pushed really, really hard for 60, 90 days, whatever it was, I crashed. And I know some of you did too, because I've had this exact talk with you. So the very first thing I picked up the book, one of the very first things I highlighted was this quote: too often we convince ourselves massive success has to equal massive action, right? Who thinks that? Does anybody else be like, okay, I have to work 24/7 if I want to do, do all these things. So if we don't have massive action in us, which a lot of times we don't, we work full time, we're moms, all those things or we can't sustain it, we do nothing sometimes, right? Anybody? Is that am I speaking to anybody here? Is it just me? Y'all are going to have to make me feel a little bit better, because this happens to me. Okay. So what I did was I was like, yep, this is my book. Like, immediately, how we talk about if something's not speaking to you, put it down. Immediately when I read that, I knew this was going to speak to me. I'm going to stand my notes up. It's going to block the chat for me just a smidge. But, my mom's FaceTiming me just a sec. All right. So in April, May versus June, July, I could see that. I was like, we did this massive action. And then in June, July, I looked up and was like, I can't maintain that. I can't keep that up. And so I burned out. And I know so many of you, like I said, I've had these conversations with you. So that's kind of why I chose the book. That's why I kind of chose to go over some of these things. Again, I'm not covering everything. My hope is that this teaches you a few things, sparks your interest enough to where you might want to pick it up and read it and learn some things yourself. Okay. So the first thing is, they define what is a habit? It's a routine or a behavior that's performed regularly and in many cases automatically. So your outcomes are a lagging measure of your habits. So basically you get what you repeat, right? You get what you repeat, which ties back to too often we convince ourselves, all that stuff. So and again, these are just I wrote down quotes that I wanted to share with you guys. You get what you repeat. Minor improvements, which is what Jen basically said in the chat a second ago. Minor improvements, marginal gains, far more meaningful in the long run. All right. And that is the basis of this book, is it is basically teaching you what doing 1% better in all areas of your life, how that can improve everything. I'm like everything. So the first thing is, how do we get better habits? Actually, I'm going to read y'all the ice cube example because I thought it was so good. Okay. Imagine that you have an ice cube sitting on the table in front of you. The room is cold and you can see your breath. It's currently 25 degrees. Ever so slowly, the room begins to heat up. 26, 27, 28. The ice cube is still sitting on the table in front of you. 29, 30, 31. Still nothing has happened. Then 32 degrees. The ice begins to melt. A 1 degree shift, seemingly no different from the temperature increases before it, has unlocked a huge change. You read it? Yeah, you did. That's okay. So to me, that was like the very first example that I was like, yeah, that's so true. Again, y'all, I like highlighted the crap out of this book. So how do we get better habits? That's the very first thing that the book tackles. And it says, forget about your goals, focus on the systems instead. And you guys, if you've ever heard us use the word, if you haven't heard us use the word system, I'm concerned. Okay. I'm going to go instead of, if you've ever heard us use the word, raise your hand instead. Yeah. I was about to say, if you haven't, I'm concerned. All right. I know you have heard the word system or, get something in place. So that to me was huge. And it says the goals are about results you want to achieve. Systems are about the process that lead to those results. So basically, in order to win, we have to get better each day. Is that what y'all are taking out of that? Because that's what I took out of that, is in order to win, we have to do things every single day. I'm trying to go fast. I'm watching the clock because I don't want to keep y'all forever. But so he talks about when we try to do these things, there's 4 problems we run into. And I'm going to need you guys to give me some feedback on some of this, okay? 4 problems he runs into. 1, winners and losers have the same goal. Would y'all agree with that? Mm-hmm. Do y'all sign distributors that tell you they're going to make $50,000 by 6 months in and then do nothing? Mm-hmm. Do you have people that tell you they're going to go Ruby in 6 weeks and do it? Yeah, like everybody starts out with the same goal, right? Like everybody probably, I don't know, as I say, everybody like wants to lose weight. They want to make more money. They want to have more time. Like everybody wants these things. It's just that most people aren't willing to do them, okay? So winners and losers have the same goal. That's problem 1. Problem 2 is achieving a goal is only a momentary change. All right. Can anybody relate to that? You hit a goal and then you're like, okay, now what? Now what do I do? Like that was it. Now, like there's this huge peak. And I thought this, me, I like analogies. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to read from you the book a couple of times. Achieving a goal is only a momentary change. Imagine you have a messy room and you set a goal to clean it. If you summon the energy to tidy it up, you will have a clean room for now. But if you maintain the same sloppy pack rat habits that led you to the messy room in the first place, soon you'll be looking at a new pile of clutter and hoping for another burst of motivation. Okay, you're left chasing the same outcome because you never changed the system behind it. So achieving a goal only changes your life for the moment. All right. I am a very untidy person, and that may or may not be one of the things on my dream board this year. So that analogy really spoke to me. If I was not too proud, I would turn my computer on and show you all my room, but I'm not going to do it. Number 3, goals restrict your happiness. Okay. Goals restrict your happiness. The implicit assumption behind any goal is that once I reach my goal, then I'll be happy. The problem with the goals first mentality is you're continually putting off happiness until the next milestone. When you fall in love with the process rather than the product, you don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy. Okay. Number 4, goals are at odds with long-term process. So finally, a goal-oriented mindset can kind of create a yo-yo effect. And here's the thing, guys, I'm not saying y'all shouldn't have goals. Okay. So please don't take that as like, hey, you don't need any kind of goals. That's not what I'm saying. He's just saying when you're trying to change systems, these are the 4 things that people run into. A goal-oriented mindset can create a yo-yo effect. Many runners work hard for months, but as soon as they cross the finish line, they stop training. The race is no longer there to motivate them. When all your hard work is focused on a particular goal, what is left to push you forward after you achieve it? All right. Has anybody in here ever hit a rank and felt that? Hit a promotion, hidden enrollment. I mean, if you're not like, we need to speak, I'm going to need you to take over the Zoom because I need to learn from you. So if you have not ever felt that, please unmute yourself and give us your secrets. But I know for me, I definitely have. So this next thing hit me hard. The purpose of setting goals is to win the game. The purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game. You know, and I think of when I was coaching, like we didn't have one gymnastics meet and then I stopped coaching the same way in preparation for the next meet, you know? And I don't know why I haven't figured out that with this business all the time, but that's what I was thinking, because that was not the end. That was not the goal. As soon as state meet was over, I coached the same way because I knew we had more goals coming up. It was a system. It was a program that I had put in place, and that was the standard I set. So I love those problems, but now ultimately you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems and habits. Okay. So basically what we're going to do now is I've got the first exercise coming up, I promise. But then it talks about what is an atomic habit. That refers to a tiny change, a marginal gain, a 1% improvement. And it's the building block of remarkable results. But behind every system of actions is a system of belief. I'm going to need everybody here to drop a 1 in the comments if you have ever struggled with beliefs. If you want to tell me what you struggle with, every single person here. I just felt like the entire book I was reading, I was like, gut punch, gut punch, gut punch. So the book says it's hard to change your habits if you never change your belief that led to your past behavior. All right. You might start a habit because of motivation, but the only reason you'll stick to one is because it becomes part of your identity. So I was thinking again, I'm such an analogy person. Me and my husband have been intermittent fasting for, I don't know, since I had Palmer. I have not eaten. I don't eat breakfast. Okay. We stop eating at a certain time. You will not catch me eating breakfast. I can say no to a donut any day because I do not eat breakfast. If we go to brunch, I'm like after 11 or after, at a certain time. My eating habits, that is a part of me. That is a habit that I do not mess up on. My eating habits, I've eaten pizza twice today, okay? That's something that I need to work on, but you will not catch me eating breakfast, right? Because that I have been working on for so long, I've got it down. So I was thinking that kind of reminded me of like, when you start it, it's for motivation. When I started that, it was because I wanted to lose 6 pounds of baby weight with Palmer, but now it's a part of it's just what we do. Like, that's just how me and my husband live. All right. So the first exercise we're going to do is a 2-step process to changing your identity. So do you guys have pens and papers? All right, I'm going to give y'all a second to get one because I'm going to give y'all a few minutes to we're going to go through these. And again, these are condensed versions. These were just kind of some quotes and stuff that I wanted to share leading up to what we're going to do. So I didn't just dive right in and y'all were like, what? So I'm going to give y'all a second to get some pen and paper. I have already done these, but I'm going to actually kind of redo them. All right. The first exercise we're going to do is I want you to write down, get a blank piece of paper, and I want you to write down qualities of who do I want to be? Okay. Who do I want to be? So like when I did it, I wrote down, I want to be less anxious. I want to be in control of my anxiety. I want to be more organized and tidy. Okay. I want to be more calm as a mother. I want to be intentional with my time, present in the moment, more confident. I wrote a healthier eater. Someone who has a morning routine. Those are kind of some examples that I did. Skip a line in between these if you can. Skip a line if you can. Or if you write small and you can do it all in one line, that's awesome too. So I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes to jot some of those down, and then we're going to do the second part of the exercise. Okay, I'm going to give everybody like 1 more minute to finish. Okay. And if you're not done, or if you need to think on them a little bit harder, that's totally fine. You have the idea of the exercise. You can go back, and I've added to mine, a couple of times at this point because I did it a while back. The second part of the exercise was a little bit harder for me, and maybe it won't be for you guys. But it says, so it's a 2-step process to changing your identity. And that sounds so weird because I love who all of you are. I don't want you to change your identity. I don't know that I love that the way he describes it, but I like the concept. The second part is prove it to yourself with small wins. So basically, that line that I asked you to skip, I want you to write a small win you could use to prove that to yourself. So, like for me, I wrote like Morgan. And again, it was harder for me on some things than other. But for me, I wrote like under more organized and tidy, I wrote spend 30 minutes a day picking up or set a cleaning schedule. On Mondays, I clean this room. On Tuesdays, I clean this room, instead of, I don't know, I kind of just feel like I walk around cleaning all day and then I look up and it doesn't look clean. I really do clean my house, I promise. It's just kids. So that was an example. Someone who isn't tied to their phone, setting boundaries on apps is what I wrote, like I've been trying to get into TikTok again, and y'all, the scroll struggle is real. Like I'm like, I cannot. So setting a boundary on TikTok. More confident in myself and my decisions. I wrote affirmations, doing daily affirmations, stuff like that. So those were kind of some of the ones. Again, I haven't come up with some. I don't know how to be less anxious or, what I can do myself just yet, but it's definitely something I'm thinking about. So I'm going to give you all another 5 minutes to do that. And what we're doing is just trying to write down a small win that you could do to prove that to yourself, and it's something that's tangible that you could do, like, on the reg, not, one big time. Okay. Again, I know y'all may not be quite done, but I wanted to share 4 things, and I probably should have told y'all this before, but four rules he shares in the book to changing your behavior. And if you struggled with like the small win part, these are good to jot down. Basically, how can I make it obvious? How can I make it attractive, easy, and satisfying? So like, how can I make the changes obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying? So those were kind of some pointers that he gave if you were looking for that. Gina, are you showing everybody the book? Mine doesn't have a cover. Okay, the second habit, and again, y'all, this isn't like in between these exercises or the second exercise, I'm cutting out a lot of material. All right, so if you want to read the book, like I highly encourage you to read the book. I'm just giving you a starting point. The second exercise is called a habit tracker. We're going to spend a few minutes on this. So basically what I want you guys to do is make a list of daily habits. All right. So get out a list of your daily habits, and literally like in the book, the examples are, I mean, they're very basic. Wake up, turn off alarm, check my phone, go to the bathroom, weigh myself, take a shower, brush my teeth, floss my teeth, on through making a cup of tea. Get dressed, hang up the towel to dry. Like they're very basic, but they're very specific. So I want you guys to, and you can pick a part of your day. Maybe it's the part of the day that you feel the most productive. I don't know. Pick a part of your day or the part of your day that you want to get a hold of. I don't know. And make a list of daily habits. Step 1. And step 2 is to go back through, and after you've done that, and put a plus sign if it's a good habit, a negative sign if it's a bad habit, and an equal sign if it's a neutral habit. All right. So that is what we're doing here. And honestly, in the book, they actually say there is no good or bad habit, but they say, does this behavior help me become the type of person I wish to be? Does this habit cast a vote for me against my desired identity? Habits that reinforce your desired identity are usually good. Habits that conflict with your desired identity are usually bad. So that gives you an idea, but it does say there are actually not any good and bad habits. So I'm going to give you all a few minutes to do that. And I've slowly like done my whole day, but I didn't do the whole, and because I mean, every day looks different too. So that's hard. Okay. Again, I know that you could probably do this for a long time, but are any of you, did any of y'all start writing and realize like you either had more bad habits than good habits, or that your days didn't look the same because you didn't have like consistent habits? Because I started writing and I was like, wake up, check my phone. Okay, that's a bad habit. That does not go with any of the people that I want, you know, like the things that I want to be. Did any of you guys, like, are y'all realizing that? Are y'all seeing your habits and they're good? Like, how are y'all feeling about those habits y'all are writing down? I'm like, I'm going to need y'all to answer just so I feel like I don't talk. I don't have any habits. A hot mess. Yeah. After about like, you know, the morning routine, my habits are kind of all over the place for sure. Anybody else? Do y'all feel like y'all have more good habits or bad habits? Like, did y'all have more positives or negatives? I had a lot of like this. Like, I mean, it's a good thing to wake my daughter up, but like, it's not a bad, like it's not, like, I feel like it's a neutral thing to get your kids ready for school. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. But all right. So the thing that I've been doing, and again, I wanted to practice some of these was because before I actually came to you guys, because I was like, all right, now we did this exercise. Again, there's a lot of more in depth in the book, but the one thing I've been practicing, and it's so cheesy. All right. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you all that right now, but they have this thing in the book called pointing and calling, because after I did this exercise, I was like, okay, now how do I get rid of these habits? Like, now I've identified my bad habits. Now what do I do with this? And so they have this thing in the book called pointing and calling, and they explained it all, you know, somebody's train system. I can't remember. There's a train in the background. It's funny, but, and how they did it. So basically, the example, or they talk about hearing your bad habits spoken aloud makes the consequences seem more real. It adds weight to the action rather than letting yourself mindlessly slip into an old routine. So it talks about like, if you want to cut back on your junk food, but notice yourself grabbing another cookie, you say, I'm about to eat this cookie, but I don't need it. It sounds so cheesy. All right. I don't know. If you're home by yourself, maybe you were like me and you talk to yourself and you talk to your dog anyways. I'm not home by myself anymore because my husband's upstairs, but I still do talk to myself and the dog a lot more. So it's kind of like, do y'all ever, when you're leaving, go out the door, like, and it used this exact example, it's like diaper bag, keys, like, you know, do you call out what you're doing? And that's you making a list. This is the same thing, but in reverse. Okay. So it's just, and it's the same thing as an affirmation, but in reverse, right? So calling out that bad habit. So that's what I've been trying to do. Like, I go to pick up my phone, turn my alarm off. I'm like, no, put your phone, you know, stuff like that. It's, again, it's weird. You're going to feel very weird doing it. Especially if people hear you, or maybe you just need to do it in your head, but I'm really liking the pointing and calling. So that's the, like I said, I wanted to give y'all one technique before we moved on how to get rid of those bad habits. Because we just made that list. We want to erase those things from our thing. So trying to use the pointing and calling. I'm going to need you to tell me how cheesy you feel when you do it over the next 48 hours. Okay. Go ahead and y'all can let me know. All right. So the very last thing we're going to talk about is the best way to start a new habit. And he actually talks about two, again, this is where I felt like a good ending point was. He actually talks about two different ways. And the first thing is implementation intention. And it's a plan you make beforehand. It's kind of, to me, it's kind of the same thing as pointing and calling. A plan you make beforehand about when or where to act. So basically how you intend to implement a particular habit. All right. So I have bookmarks all in this book. It's cracking me up. So basically it says the two most common cues are time and location. So implementation, intentions, leverage both of these cues. So basically the format for saying this would be when situation X arises, I will perform response Y. So that's the first thing. Again, it's talking out loud. So it's a little bit, you know, you might feel a little bit crazy. But they also say people who make a specific plan for when and where they will perform a new habit are more likely to follow through. Many people think they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity. It is not always obvious when and where to take action. Once an implementation intention has been set, you do not have to wait for inspiration to strike. All right. So again, I will blank at, or you can also say I will blank at time and location. So just, again, it's just a different way of calling it out. And I'll send pictures to you guys if y'all want in this, or I can drop some of the notes. Like I said, I can drop some of the notes in the chat or in the team page. All right. The second thing is habit stacking. So that is identifying current habits you already have / do each day and stack your new behavior on top. All right. So again, and I have the example, I have examples marked because I was like, wow, why recreate the wheel? They have examples. So basically, and there's another guy in here that does a habit stacking formula. After I blank, I will blank. So after, like this person's talking about meditation, after I pour my cup of coffee each morning, I will meditate for 1 minute. After I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change my workout clothes. After I sit down to dinner, I will say one thing I'm grateful for that happened today. So basically, they're sliding these new habits in things that they already do, which leads us to our next exercise. Okay. And both of these things allow you, or the habit stacking allows you to create a simple set of rules that guide your future behavior. Okay. Again, it gives you a game plan for how you're going to change what you want to change. All right. And again, and I'm going off track, but one of the reasons I really liked this book was because of all the exercises, because I don't know if y'all are like me, but I will read a book and be like, oh my God, that was so good. And then I'm like, but where do I start? Like, how do I even start implementing any of it? Do y'all do that? Like you get so overwhelmed, you've highlighted 700,000 pages and then you're like, but now what? Like, I don't know what to do to use this information. So I really like this. All right. So the last exercise is you are going to you're going to write 2 lists. All right. So on one column, your first column is going to be write down the habits you do every day without fail. So you brush your teeth. Hopefully, I don't know. You get out of bed, obviously. Hopefully you all get out of bed, brush your teeth, you get dressed, you have a cup of coffee, you take your kids to school, whatever, eat lunch, go to work, turn off the lights, get into bed. These are all examples they give. So write down the things that you do every single day without fail. Okay. Without fail, this is the first column. You can totally use your other list to cheat. Okay, the second list you're going to make, and again, you may still be working on the first one, but this one was like a little bit easier if we'd already done the first one, and I would love for somebody that's read the book or that understands this maybe a little bit better than I do. Maybe they can shed some light on this, but the second list is write down all the things that happen to you each day without fail. Okay, so every single day, his examples are the sun rises, you get a text message, song you're listening to ends, the sun sets. Like I wrote down, Emerson is going to, we're going to go at it when she gets dressed every morning. That happens every morning without fail. She's going to change her outfit 14 times. Okay. The dog's going to bark, stuff like that. Not really clear exactly. I'll finish the list in a second, but to me, if you've read the book, I want to hear your input of how you think the second list helps. we're writing, sorry, Amanda, we're writing a list in the second column, writing down all the things that happen to you every single day without fail. So maybe not necessarily decisions that you make, just things that you know are going to happen. Like you get a text message, your husband's going to call you, you know, the kids are going to cry, something like that. Okay, so the idea, it says, armed with these two lists, you can begin searching for the best place to layer your new habit into your lifestyle. So basically he's teaching you, he's breaking it down into steps of like, and what I did when I wrote them down just now, I kind of, like I said, I was redoing it with y'all, I just skipped a line because like I said, I want to create a new morning routine. So I know that I need to stick some things in there before I wake up. You know, maybe I need to wake up earlier or whatever. But so it says habit stacking works best when the cue is highly specific and immediately actionable. The specificity is important. The more tightly bound to your new habit is to a specific cue, the better the odds are that you will notice when the time comes to act. So do y'all think that the second list, you're also, that's why I was asking, the second list, do y'all think that you're also supposed to think about stacking your habits there? Is that what y'all think the second list is for? I'm like, I don't know. I wanted to know.
I don't know.
I don't think the second list is anything that we have control of. It's going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
That's what I got from it. It's going to happen. That's a part of, I guess you could say, other quote unquote habits that we don't have control of, that we just need to probably incorporate that in just our daily lives.
Like just know it's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. Because I mean, obviously I've read past this chapter. I was like, I mean, I think I get it now. So yeah, those are the 3 exercises that I thought were like I said, the best to start with. Again, I was trying to keep this under 50 to 60 minutes. Like that was my goal. So I know I talked through the first part really quickly. Also because I told y'all this was exercises and probably 15 minutes in, y'all were like, good God, she's still quoting this book. But you guys, like, I cannot stress enough that I really, and here's the deal, is you may have your habits completely, like you may be good. You may be like, you know, clockwork with your habits and, you know, not have any issues with your system. But I know like having my own schedule and my own time, and here's the deal, is like 2020, if your schedule hasn't changed once, like good for you. We need to talk. I'm confused. But like, you know, if your kid hasn't come home from school or you hadn't been like in quarantine, or, you know what I'm saying? Like everything has been so crazy in this year that maybe you had your habits down and then this happened and your kid came home and they went back and the kid came home, you know, I don't know, or you came home from work and you were working full time here, or like my husband has been home since March. I don't have a desk anymore at all. Like he is home till June of 2021. I love having him home, but that has messed with my work, because now I'm like, my stuff is all over the place. You know, everything has changed, I feel like, in this year. And I just thought this was a really good time to bring this book to you guys if you're struggling, or if you just are looking for the next thing to read. You know, again, I don't want you to take my 50 minutes of paraphrasing and 3 exercises and think you've got it all and like that you don't need to read the book, because I promise you, James says it and way better than I did. And you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's a book that, and I think Jamie's read it multiple times because she and I were talking about it. And I mean, probably a couple of y'all have, but it's a book that you'll read over and over again as seasons change, right? And again, we don't ever get comfortable. I mean, well, you might, but you know what I'm saying? The idea is to always be evolving and always be better. So, you know, you could always revisit this book, you know, every 12 months and kind of just figure out, what now do I want to take up 1%? What areas now do I want to bring up? So anyways, really, I don't have anything else. If you guys have anything, is it a box? No, I just been doing it in my planner, Brittany. So like my planner is got like Atomic Habits, and it's just got everything I've been doing. And I actually have been transferring it to my new planner, because that way I can help keep myself on track throughout the year, you know, or hopefully that's the idea. So there's no box. It does have like graphics and some stuff, but it's pretty much just full of truth, like mic drops. So, all right. Does anybody have any other questions? Nope. Okay. Is everybody going to go out and buy this book tomorrow? You know what I think? I think I'm going to make, we have one, I got to check the enrollments for today. We're 1 enrollment away from our next giveaway. Like we have 2 giveaways and we got 15 and we got 4. I'm going to do the next, it's going to be a book, this book. There we go. All right. You just got the book on your phone. Yeah. I should have probably listened to it. I'd probably be done with it quicker, but that's okay. I know I'm going to read it 1,000 more times. Maybe not 1,000, but a couple. All right. I'm going to let you guys go next week, because we did a virtual, or I know we've had several dream board parties going on. But next week we're going to do a virtual dream board party, and I'm going to be posting stuff throughout the week to give you guys a head start on it. If you haven't already started, if you have, great. And Gina and I kind of talked today and planned it out a little bit, and she had a really good idea that I'm excited for you guys to do. So even if you've already done yours, please get on, and you can message while we work and go through some of the activities, and that's totally cool. You can work. And then at the end, I'm going to need everybody to have, you know, there's like somewhat created for what we're going to do. So, again, I'll be posting some stuff, because if you're like me, it takes you a little bit to formulate your ideas and like put them, like go and find the word and, you know, make the graphic on over or whatever. And so I'm going to be posting ideas for you guys starting, what's today? Monday, starting Wednesday, and leading up until next Monday's Zoom. All right. And then we'll all hop on, we'll do our dream board. I'll play music. And then we're going to do an activity where we share at the end. So if yours is done by next Monday, that's awesome. But I still want you to get on, work with us, and then do the activity at the end. Okay.
Hey, Storm.
Yes.
Hey, I will share in the team page. We did a really cool exercise last night, and I recorded it because there were actually quite a few people that couldn't be on. That kind of helps you walk through some really good questions. And so there's about 20 questions that I ask, and I'll drop the YouTube recording that I have on my YouTube on the team page, so that if you want to even get even more of a head start, these are some things that that I just walked through with my team, just to kind of get those wheels turning. So I'll drop that for everybody to use also.
Is it the who, what, when, where, why?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Elena and I were on the Zoom this morning, and she did tell me about that. I don't even know what came up, but we were talking about that, the questions. And then I got I have an article that's like, you know, word of the year, and I picked Alyssa Bowman's brain, and we talked a little bit about categories. And I mean, this is basically the category she sent me is how I broke it down. I haven't read Sherry Lynn's book, but that's where she got them from. And so I'll get with you, Jamie, and you just let me know what day you're going to share it. And we'll kind of just give you guys some stuff leading up to it if you haven't done it, you know, to just get your wheels turning. Because sometimes that's what we need. Because even me, I would like to listen to those questions and see if I missed anything, you know, and I feel like mine's about 90% done.
Perfect. Yeah, it took us about 40 minutes to walk through it, and I gave minutes in between each question so that we could kind of, it was pretty quick, but at least you can have all the questions and stuff and just sit down with yourself for about 45 minutes and just walk through all of this, because it's good stuff.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Well, so that's what we're going to do next week. And the next week, you guys, by the next week, we'll know about the announcements, and that Zoom will be, we're all going to be like peeing our pants and dancing and so excited about whatever Mark announced. So I already know what we're going to talk about then. So, all right, you guys have a good Monday. And if I don't see y'all again, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Bye, guys.